If you're facing low conversion rates from your free trial, chances are it can be traced right back to your onboarding emails. And it's not because what you have in your onboarding are bad emails. It's because you're likely making the same strategic mistakes that are so common and so widespread across B2B SaaS companies that you might not even realize that they are mistakes. So let's talk about why most B2B onboarding sequences don't convert customers to paid plans. And as we go through this video, I want you to take an honest look at your onboarding sequence and ask yourself if you are making any of these mistakes. And it's not bad if you are. This is, like I said, these are so common, but we do need you to move forward with an understanding of where your gaps might be. Because once you understand where your gaps might be, that allows you to replace them and fill them with strategies that actually work. So let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is you are focusing on features. And this is one of the most common mistakes that I see. And it happens especially so often when the marketing team is also really close to the software team. And the person who built the product also has a say in the marketing. And I'm sorry to say that. But here's what this looks like in practice. Your onboarding emails essentially become a product tour. Here's feature A. Here's feature B. Here's feature C. And you're walking users through what the users can do, you're listing capabilities, and you're explaining functionalities. And another way you know that if this is your software is if you have put an email in there talking about a feature that no user actually really cares about, but the people on the back end, they worked really hard on it and they're super proud of it. And so you have an email in your onboarding about it. So the thing is that nobody signs up for your tool because of features. They sign up because they have a problem to solve. They have a job that they need your software to do for them. They want to save money, increase productivity, increase efficiency across their team, improve morale. There are so many things that people are signing up for your tool to do. Now, when you lead with features, you're making your user do the work to translate these features into outcomes. You're making them figure out, how does feature A save me time? How does feature B save me money? How does feature C improve productivity? And let's be honest, people are lazy and they're busy, so they're likely not going to do that work. They'll skim your emails, maybe log into your tool once or twice, and then they'll go back to the old way of doing things because you never actually gave them a reason to care about your software in the first place. So your onboarding needs to focus on outcomes and those jobs to be done that your users have hired your software for, and not features. We want to focus on what users can accomplish and not what buttons they can click. Big mistake number 2 is lack of segmentation and personalization. Everybody gets the same sequence, no matter what they do or don't do in your tool, no matter what their role is, what their goals are, or what problem they're trying to solve. Marketer or sales rep, same emails. Run a solo business or manage a team of 100, same emails. Activated a key feature or never logged in, same emails. And this approach treats your entire trial user base like they're one homogeneous group, when really that couldn't be further from the truth. Different users have different needs. They have different pain points, different goals, different levels of sophistication with tools like yours. And when you send them all through the exact same sequence, you're guaranteeing that most of these emails will feel irrelevant to most of your users. Relevance is what drives engagement, and engagement is what drives conversion. So when your emails aren't segmented and personalized, you're not just missing an opportunity to connect with your users on a deeper level. You're actively reducing the likelihood that they'll even see your tool as an essential part of their workflow. Because if your emails don't speak to their specific situation, why should they believe that your software does? And no, please know that personalization does not mean just adding the first name tag to your emails. It is no longer 2018. Big mistake number 3 is sending too few emails or waiting way too long between emails. And this might surprise you, but it's costing conversions. 100% it is. If your onboarding sequence sends too few emails, or you're waiting several days between emails, or both, that is costing you conversions. So look at this company, who I'm not going to name. They started out so strong on day 0, and they sent me 3 emails. And then they waited 9 days before sending another email, reminding me that my trial was going to end in 4 days. And then they waited 11 days after my trial ended to ask me for my feedback. During huge gaps like this, your users are forgetting about you. They're forgetting why they signed up, they're getting pulled back into their day-to-day work, and they're falling back into the way that they've always solved this problem. They're going back to the status quo. You have such a tiny window during the trial period to build a habit around your software, to get users to come back into the tool repeatedly, to take action, experience wins, integrate your product into their workflow, and to become raving fans of your tool. Tiny window. And every day that you're not emailing them is a day they're drifting further away from that habit formation. Now, I'm not saying that you should spam your trial users with daily emails just for the sake of filling their inbox, but you do need to be strategic about maintaining engagement throughout the trial. So if you're only sending 3 or 4 emails over a 14-day trial with 3, 4, or 9 days in between each email, you are giving your users permission to forget about you, and forget about you they will. And mistake number 4 is not selling. This mistake absolutely baffles me when I see it, and I see it all the time. Companies spend the entire trial period onboarding users, walking them through features, helping them get set up, talking about outcomes, and then they don't send sales-specific emails. They don't actually actively sell the paid subscription. Instead, they just hope that the experience inside the tool will have been enough to get the conversion. They rely almost entirely on those "your trial's expiring in 3 days" emails to do the heavy lifting. So let's take a look at this example from Dropbox. They emailed me on June 13th, and then not again for 12 days when my trial was a week away from ending. And then this is the email that I got. "Hi Jess, we hope Dropbox Professional has elevated the way you create and share your work. Just a heads up, your trial ends on July 2nd, 2025. With a CTA that says visit Dropbox." And then underneath the button, they say your trial ends on July 2nd, 2025. If you don't cancel your free trial by that date, we'll charge you monthly until you cancel. This is not a sales email. And then the next email that I got from them was when I got switched over to the paid account a week later on July 2nd. And I will say I did sign up for Dropbox with the intention to convert into a paid account. So it's fine that they charged my card and switched me over to a paid account. That was my plan. But this is really common and something that I see a lot when companies take a credit card during sign up. It's like they're afraid to spook the customer, so they tiptoe around the idea of a paid plan, hoping that the user will just forget to cancel the subscription and the subscription will just auto-renew. This is not a conversion strategy. This is just genuinely hoping that your users aren't really paying attention. If you are not actively selling during your trial, you are leaving conversions on the table. You're assuming that users will naturally see the value and upgrade to a paid account with any persuasion, without any reinforcement, without any strategic messaging around why the paid plan is worth it. And that's just not how people make purchasing decisions, especially in B2B, where there are often multiple stakeholders, there has to be budget approvals, and there's competitive alternatives to examine. Your trial period is part of your sales window, and if you're not using it to sell, you are wasting it. And then the final mistake number 5, is using way too many CTAs in every email. This is a mistake that I see far too often, and that is when your email has way too many places to click for one single email. So take a look at this email from ClickUp. This email from ClickUp has 10 places to click, and you can also click every word under import and integrate and download. In total, there are 44 places inside this email that you can click. 44. When you do this, and if you have an email set up like this, even if it's not as egregious as having 44 places to click, when you have a lot of places in your email to click, I know that you're doing this because it feels helpful and it feels like you're giving your users options and letting them take the option that they need to take. But what you're actually doing here is causing decision paralysis. When you present users with too many choices, they often will choose nothing. They're overwhelmed by all of the options. They're unsure which action is actually important, and they end up most of the time not taking any action at all. And the truth is, with every single onboarding email, you should know exactly what it is that you want your users to do. You should know what your users need to do to get value out of your tool on every single day of the trial and based on what actions they have and have not taken. And your emails should reflect that clarity. One email, one primary goal, one call to action, not 44. If you're asking users to do 5 or 44 different things in every single email, you're essentially asking them to do nothing because they won't know where to start and then they won't have the cognitive bandwidth to figure it out. Your job is to know exactly what they need to do. So simplify your CTAs, make the next step extremely obvious, and guide users intentionally through the actions that will drive conversions. Having a bunch of things to click on is not the answer. It is, in fact, just a very, very big problem. So if your onboarding sequence is focused on features instead of outcomes, if it's not segmented or personalized, if you're sending too few emails and you have way too much time in between each of the emails, and if you're not actively selling during the trial, and if your emails are cluttered with way too many calls to action, your sequence is not converting because it's fundamentally misaligned with how users evaluate, adopt, and commit to new software. I want to be honest with you, these are not small issues. These are very large and strategic problems that undermine the entire purpose of a free trial sequence. So for now, take an honest look at your onboarding sequence and identify which of these mistakes you're making, because you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. And if this video has made you realize that you do have some serious gaps in your onboarding sequence, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss my future videos where I'm going to show you how to fix some of these problems. And if you want my team and I to fix them for you, or to do a comprehensive audit of your current onboarding sequence and show you and your team how to rebuild it so that it actually converts trial users into customers, book a discovery call with me. The link is in the description. Let's take these mistakes and turn them into wins.